So as I was researching what I could possibly be doing for this video, I went across a bunch of different, and I did my normal thing. I used Perplexity to figure out which topic I'm going to talk about next. And I was thinking about talking about how many Instagram bots there were. And so I was asking Perplexity and it gave me, the normal thing. So I was going to do this. And so I started my research with this article from 2018 saying that there are 95 million bots on Instagram, and that's the most recent study that's ever been done. It was done by Ghost Data, and they just used AI and they made their own fake AI bots, and they put them out onto Instagram, and they saw what they did, and then they used that information to figure out which other accounts were bots. So like they were acting the same. That's the latest we have, 2018. So too long ago to make an actual prediction. And then I found this. There's an interesting video of a bunch of different phones, and the reason they use phones and not just like a singular device with many accounts is because Instagram actually has some pretty good software in place to tell if it's multiple accounts on a singular device or multiple devices. So people just buy tons of cheap phones like this and they use them all, which the setup looks crazy, and they're just chilling over there. And so I created this mildly large spreadsheet of a bunch of different companies that sell you Instagram bots, or more like followers, but the amount of things they can do changes. So sometimes it's just a follow, and sometimes it'll comment or something like that. So they range in how good they are, but I made an AI to get me all of this information, and it's got link, number of bots sold. A lot of them you can't tell, it doesn't say on their website. Number of customers, the service was provided for, price, and then when the company was started, and a note on that specific company. And so I looked at a couple of them, and one of them caught my eye when I went to their website. It's called Kenji AI. And so I went to Kenji AI, and I was doing some research on it just in the website. And so I asked if I went to their chat and I asked if anybody knew the owner, or if this person knew the owner. And I started with this stupid AI bot that was responding to me. But I eventually got a person. And so it said, unfortunately, we're not allowed to disclose the owner of Kenji. So I asked if they were explicitly told not to. And this person said yes. Explicitly, this person was told not to disclose who owns this company. So I said, can you tell me anyone who staffs it? Nope. So I tell them I'm part of an AI startup. Might want to connect with people. Nope. I just pressed a little bit more. Nothing. Is there even a person in charge of communications, like every good company should have? Nope. How did you get your job? Can't tell you. Can you tell me anything about the business that might help me on it? And then just a bunch of BS that, you can read that. And so I did my own digging. And this is probably going to be a 2-part video because I haven't reached the end, and I think there might be more, but I was too deep to not make a video, and I want to make a video at least every week, so it had to stop here for now. But I went into their terms of service, and it also says it on the bottom of the website, but it says Social Growth LLC is their company name, and it's based in Dubai, which is weird because Kenji kind of sounds to me, and so does the logo. The logo and the name both look and sound like Japanese sort of things, so it's kind of misleading, or at least I think so. And so I did some research on the UAE and these types of bots, and it turns out that 3 separate instances of people have just like lost their account. Like these were verified people, and this guy specifically died. This guy died, and then his account was taken over, the name was changed, and he started posting like picture, like he started posting pro Saudi Arabian news, which is weird because how does a well-known verified person get their account taken over, and especially after they die? It's like weird. It's like they knew, were watching, and then they waited until, I don't know, weird stuff. This was on Twitter though. And then there was a network of bots pushing, again, pro-Saudi Arabian fake news. So this has precedent. There is precedent for bots from the UAE like pushing pro-UAE stuff. And then over here, this was, I went to the United Arab Emirates Ministry of Economy website and I looked up Social Growth LLC. So this is Social Growth LLC. It says it doesn't have a parent company, and it doesn't have any like is branch, I think means like, are there any companies that it works with or is connected to? So no, it's a standalone company. It says it was established in 2023, which is very weird because over here it says our terms of and conditions were last updated 2022. So it's like, okay, well, how is that possible? That doesn't make any sense. And then over here it says the economic department is Meydan. I think that's how you say it. But basically, Meydan is, and I looked it up, it's a free zone in the UAE, which basically means that there's less regulation in that spot. And the goal of that is supposed to spur economic growth, and like be very inviting for companies to come and base their businesses there. But what ends up happening is a bunch of money laundering happens there. So it's interesting that this company is there. And what percent of all companies are based in these free zones? It's not like a lot, it's 8%. So it's even weirder. Inside the UAE, it being in this free zone is like a red flag. There is very little stuff on this Kenji AI on YouTube. This is one of the 2 videos I found, and I'm sure there are more, but I stopped looking. This guy gave it a 1 out of 5 stars because you can't find any information on it. And then the other video I saw, feel free to look for it, is some guy just praising it. And then in the comments, or not in the comments, in the description, there's a link to get a discount at Kenji. So it's like probably paid. Yeah, here's the 8% statistic. 8% of the businesses in the UAE are in free zones. So that's an interesting little piece of information. Okay, now here's the Wayback Machine. The Wayback Machine is like a beautiful piece of internet tool, I guess. And it basically lets you reverse time on tons of different websites. And when I say tons, this thing has, I think it's like 900 petabytes of information. And it just crawls a website and it marks it down and keeps it on like a timeline. So here I went back to April 26th of 2022. So technically this company was not supposed to be a thing because if you remember, it said 2023. And then this is June. And so it should not be a thing. Where did my tab go? And so here it should not, the date is before that. And then if you scroll down, what is this? MKN Media Limited. Limited. So different company. What? That's weird. And it says it's based in Malaysia. That's a different place than the UAE, I'm pretty sure. So I looked it up, and here's the website for MKN. And I know it is because I found on infobell.com a little documentation that this is in fact the website that is in Malaysia. So I called these numbers. They're international numbers like they should be, and neither one of them picked up. It was like disconnected. So I I'm confused. It's like, okay, so it was in before it was in the UAE, it was in Malaysia. And then it changed names, and you can't find anybody connected to either. Well, you can. And in a second, I'll show you. This website also says MKN Media Limited. And then over here, look at that. Upleap. What is this? A completely different company, but what does it do? It buys Instagram likes. It's the exact same thing. So they rebranded, I guess. This one's really well known, way more well known than Kenji. And so there's actual articles on it. And if you go here to LinkedIn, and this is where my current research stops, and I will probably pick it back up later. LinkedIn for Upleap. And look at that, we've actually got people. So the next step of research is asking these people if they know anything about Kenji AI. So my current working understanding is that someone made a company, not someone, MKN Media made a company, and the company did what they do today, which is Instagram likes and followers and all that stuff. And then it was bought by the UAE, the government, and in a private way. And the UAE now uses it as like a foreign influence type thing, where they use these like high level Instagram bots as people to push change politically in the United States, possibly. I don't know. That's what I'm thinking. It would make sense. I mean, I'm not allowed to know anything about anybody who works here. And it's based in an economic zone where it can do whatever it wants with little government oversight. Although I'm sure, we'll see where this goes. But this is part one of uncovering the secret bot network of the UAE. Dun dun dun. Until next time.